and welcome to SantaPod for the finals of the FIA and the UEM European Drag Racing Championships. This is the main event and this is where everything will be decided.
Oh, it is indeed, and we've got a great programme lined up for you. Top methanol funny car, top methanol dragster, the incredible 1,000+ horsepower top fuel bikes, and of course, my favourites, the hot rods, the pro mods are here.
So let's go straight there.
Well, if you're into hot rods that do the quarter mile in 6 seconds at 200 miles an hour, you've got to love this class. These are the Pro Modifieds.
Well, they are the wildest class in the whole of drag racing. FIA Pro Mods here qualifying. Andy Robinson in the far lane with the now red Studebaker up against Kev Slyfood. Unfortunately did not qualify. Andy on this run got into the qualified field, but up until that point he was having a real bad weekend.
Andy, what a roller coaster of a year it's been for you. You had the fire in Finland, then you came back out with this brilliant, gorgeous looking car and did really well in Hockenheim, and then things aren't going so well at SantaPod.
No, we've had two lean burst panel failures, unfortunately. We have found a problem. There was a bit of an issue with some of the plumbing. We fixed that, so hopefully we should be okay now.
So what does it mean for the rest of this weekend?
We've only got one chance to get in this programme.
And it's a really competitive field, isn't it? So when it's down to the last one like that, is that serious pressure for you to handle, Andy?
It's quite a lot of pressure. I mean, we're pretty laid back, but obviously it means we've got to do well this next pass. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's got to be the most competitive class in drag racing, Pro Modified, and it's outstanding, but it's tough.
Well, he did get qualified in the end. Another racer over from the States again. Melanie Troxel with this run ended up being #1 qualifier, but again, up until this point, she was having a horrible weekend.
Melanie, here you are. British weather. What are your thoughts?
Boy, I don't know what to think out here. You know, yesterday was supposed to be the good day. When we didn't get our run in yesterday, we had some mechanical issues first thing in the morning. It took us all day long to get them fixed. We were in the lanes for the second run, which of course we didn't get to make because of the weather. I thought, you know, I was having worst possible thoughts. I didn't think we were going to get a run in at all today, and I thought, boy, this is a long way to travel to go home without even getting to make a qualifying run. And then it turns out to be beautiful out here today, which was supposed to be the bad day. So it's kind of crazy, but we've gone out and made one nice run that'll get us in the field, and I think will hold us in there. That takes the pressure off the team. Now we've got a chance to go out and really get after it a little bit and see what we can do.
Well, by get after it, they mean try and run really fast indeed. The man in a dead heat at the moment for the championship is Mickey Gallquist with the supercharged 57 Chevy. He's a teammate of Melanie's, and up until this point, it was him that was #1 qualifier.
You're leading the championship, #1 qualifier. Can anything go wrong?
No, there's a lot of things that could go wrong, and I mean we've been working hard this weekend to get the car started for the first time this year, so we had a lot of problems. But we still, you know, we're happy to be #1 qualifier, and you know, everything looks good right now, so we're all smiles.
Well, all smiles indeed at the moment, but right up your exhaust pipe in the championship, same points as you, although that will change with you being #1 qualifier, is Johan Lindbergh.
Yeah, we need to beat them guys with 1 point at least, and then we're home, but it's still a long race to go before we're there, so just need to try hard.
Well, the other man who he's tied with in the championship so far, Johan Lindbergh, the Rockstar guys from Sweden, been having a really rough weekend as well. Stop me if I've said this before. Almost everyone in qualifying in Pro Mod didn't do so well. Johan struggling away.
Johan, it's been an incredible season all the way through, and then in the finals, here you are having problems in qualifying stages.
Yeah, we have struggled a little bit, but we think we have it now, so yeah.
You think because it's so close between you and Mickey Gallquist to get the championship title, do you think the Gremlins have gone now?
Yeah, we think we can beat him, yeah.
Well, it's race day for Pro Mods. I'm Darryl Bradford, joined here in the commentary box by John Price. John, it's going to be a great day.
Oh yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. The qualifying for Pro Modified has been absolutely electric. Here's the man currently our #5 qualifier taking the win there. That was Bruno Bader from Switzerland, shutting down the crowd's favourite with that pickup truck fast Freddie Fagerström. What a great shame.
Yeah, next pair, Nitrous against Supercharger, Holland against Sweden. That was Henry Houston with a quick hop and a step off the line. Adam Flamholt was our number 2 qualifier, and on this run, runs the first 5-second pass of the weekend, a 5.96. The crew, as you can see, jumping for joy. That's the first leg of a new European record. That was worth waiting for.
Yeah, absolutely extraordinary. Right, now then, next pair getting ready to run. The lady who ended up the number 1 qualifier. This is Melanie Troxel coming up alongside the man from Holland, Robert Houston, and it's Melanie all on her own. Runs through, she qualified in a 6.0. Hey, 6.12 is good. Unlucky for Robert Houston.
Yeah, Robert with a quick hop and a step off the line. You see this in replay. Red lit his chances away. Melanie, look at the way she drives this car all over the place. Hardly ever points in a straight line, but still runs that 6.1, 241 mile an hour. That lady can drive. Our quarterfinals are set up like this.
Well, with the big news that the 2 championship leaders have got through into the next round. That's both Micke Gulqvist and Johan Lindbergh. It looks set to be a very exciting set of semi-finals. Now, here's Micke Gulqvist coming out, and that championship must seem as though it's in his grasp.
Well, it certainly must. The R2B2 racing squad have been helping Mickey no end this year. Al Billis, the crew chief for Melanie Troxel, has been collaborating, if you like, with all the guys working on the 57 Chevy. Mickey G now has one of their engines in that car. Ran in the 6.0s in Hockenheim, the 6.0s here at SantaPod, but he does have the small matter of getting past Bruno Barder first to do.
Yeah, well, Bruno, number 5 qualifier here. Micke Gulqvist, of course, was number 4 qualifier. So in qualifying, next to nothing to choose between them. And look at this. Hop, stepping and jumping away from the start line. Micke Gulqvist is out of it. Bruno Bader, the man from Switzerland, takes the win at 7.87. What a shock.
Well, who'd have thought it? Micke Gulqvist loses the championship chances with a 12-second run up against a 7-second run from Bruno. You couldn't have expected that. Watch, they're supposed to leave together like a pair of rockets. They both slip the tyres, go all over the place. Then by the looks of it, something breaks in Mickey's car. Bruno gets back on the throttle, legs it all the way through, and that is 2010 done for Mickey.
Yeah, he's going to be beside himself with upsettedness, I think is a nice way of describing that. But let's try and catch up with Mickey after that run and just get his feelings about what on earth went wrong.
Michael, this is a bad weekend for you. You just lost the European Championship.
Yeah, we had some real bad things going on here for my round. I did as I usually do, and I just was signaled to go forward and make my burnout, and then I was stopped by the starter for some reason. And I was told the reason was that they wanted me to wait for the other car to start doing his burnout. So I feel not very happy right now. I think they made a bad decision here today, so that's my feeling right now.
But it has big consequences for you.
Yeah, it cost me the championship, and from my point of view, it wasn't my fault really. They did something they never did to me before.
Well, the lack of burnout may have cost Mickey the championship, but Johan Lindbergh, the man that's almost dead on now to win the title with a Rockstar car, if he can take out Roger Hansen with the nitrous Mustang in the other lane. Still no easy task, John.
Oh, God, no. Well, Roger Johansson, previous champion, of course, and it's the young man, the young gun, Johan Lindbergh, coming up against the seasoned, experienced professional. The 2 different types of engines, as you just said, the big nitrous motor, some 14,000 cc's, coming up against the blown methanol car of the Lindberghs. And Johan Lindbergh was right down the qualifying ladder at, would you believe, number 14, which is so unusual for him. But look at this, away together door. This is a great drag race. Who's going to get it? It is Johan Lindbergh. Suddenly, he's running a 6.0.
Yeah, back on form, and he takes the title in 2010.
You are the 2010 Pro Mod champion.
Yeah, it feels so very good. It's, it's so fucking good.
I will take the so good bit, but it's not just you, is it, Johan? It's a family affair, and your brother and your dad. It's a whole team ethos that's helped this happen.
Yeah, that team has done amazing, good work on the car. We struggled a lot this weekend, but Yeah, you know, Janne finds some small things, then the car went fast, so that's good.
He's a good brother. Now, did you know when you were coming into the series, did you ever imagine that you would be crowned champion?
No, never. No.
What an amazing debut year. You just must be thrilled. What more can we get from you, Johan?
I don't know. Maybe a 5, maybe.
Maybe a 5.
Yeah.
Can we get it this weekend?
Hope so, yeah.
Well, Johan takes the title, but it's an all-family affair for the Lindberghs. Not just Johan, but his brother Johnny, who's the crew chief, his dad, his mum. Everybody is here this weekend to see his win.
Yeah, I'm really, really proud. I am. And it's just not our son. It's Johan, the oldest son I got. It's Johnny, the younger son I got. And it's the whole team, actually, that we put together. This is kind of like a family deal. It's called the Limbourg Brothers. And I'm the father, of course, but we have a lot of people involved. And I'm really, really proud of this, of course. And I'm so happy, really, really happy.
When did the idea of all this first start with racing in Pro Mod then, Lars?
Yeah, the boys have been racing, you know, like street racing in Stockholm since they were like 15, 16 years old. And it's 6 years difference between the guys. But Johan has always been the driver and John has been the mechanic. And they've been started to do racing in Stockholm, street racing in Stockholm, and then they turn out to be the Door Slammer series in Scandinavia. So this is the 5th year in the really, really high racing classes.
Well, the party, I'm sure, will be legendary with the whole family there this weekend. But we do have the small matter, John, of a race to win this weekend at SantaPod for the European finals.
Yeah, indeed. And Melanie Troxel this time comes up against, of course, the man who is the favourite with all the Brits in this big, big crowd here at SantaPod, Andy Robinson with a Studebaker. So you've got Camaro against Studebaker. We're back to my hot rods as always. But you've got the American female coming up against the British male. And, oh, as I'm talking, the whole of the crowd heave a big, big, oh, Andy breaks on the line. What a great shame.
Yeah, it was a big shame. We saw lots of smoke from the car coming back from the burnout. It's called the Smoking Stew, but not for that reason, sadly. Melanie, another all-over-the-place run, but blasts on through with a 6.05. She would have been tough to beat anyway. Andy would have had to be in PB territory to take her out, but she's on to the semis. Unfortunately, England's hopes end there.
Yeah, indeed, but what a driver that lady is. No wonder she's been one of the front runners in Top Fuel as well as in Pro Modified in America. But now, the man who set the whole place alight a little while ago. This is, this is Mickey Lindahl with his Camaro. The opposing Camaro is Adam Flamholt, who ran a 5 the last time out.
Yeah, Adam on a new European record, 5.96 in round 1. Leaves Mickey Lindahl for dead. Mickey wasn't running slowly at all, but Adam Flamholt with a great 5.98. The only man in the 5s this weekend. Lose out for Mickey Lindahl, not too shabby at all, 6.19. But so far this weekend in eliminations as well. Look at the Amelie team, so happy. No one can touch Adam.
Where have these 5-second runs come from?
Well, as I said before, we have had big problems with the car, and before this event we found the main issue we had, and we sorted it out, and we went here testing Wednesday, and I saw this coming actually. You know, the car is performing like a rocket, and we go faster every run, and now we have a new European record, and I hope we can keep up this and maybe go to the final round here, and we will have a good winter preparing for next year.
Well, good winter and a good evening as well. The new European record holder, Adam Flamholt, takes the new European champion, Johan Lindbergh. Melanie Troxel is the next to try and get the best of Bruno Bader, the conqueror of Mickey Gallquist.
Yeah, here she is then. This lady, I tell you, she really does drive a car. It's almost like watching a rally driver with her on here. What the people tend to tell me, those in the know that is that when your car is set up, and I'm just looking at the screen here to see Melanie Troxel being pushed back, this is terrible news, but when your car is set up for an American track, sometimes that just doesn't fit a British track, hence the driving job she always has to do. But Bruno Bader, he just cruises through into the final. That was promising to be a great race.
Well, indeed it was. Bruno's been in the 6-1s, Melanie in the 6-0s. Bruno really would have liked to take his shot against the lady from America, but sadly, something leaking on Melanie's car, and Bruno's great day continues into his first ever FIA Pro Mod final. Who will he be racing against? Well, for all of us, it's great to see the R2B2 team and Melanie Troxel over here racing. We'd all like to thank them for coming. We really do hope we see them again next year. But again, there's a race to be won.
Well, here we are then, a pair of quintessential American muscle cars. Two GM cars side by side here. The Pontiac Firebird of Johan Lindbergh coming up against the Camaro of Adam Flamholt. Now, I'm watching what's going on here with Johan Lindbergh's car. It isn't getting into reverse. There seems to be a problem. The crew are coming up to the car. I'm hoping that he's going to be able to reverse it up. Adam Flamholt, complete real sportsman, just sitting there waiting for the Limbourg car to come back, and the frustration really telling on the faces of the family.
Yeah, well, there's nothing they can do yet. Johan's out of the car. He is broken. It will be Adam and Bruno in the final. Adam Flamholt takes a freebie, a tune-up run into the final, runs the car through to around about half track and clicks it off just to save it for that final, but he's going to be there. 662, only 161 miles an hour. Boy, that car has some horsepower, but Johan Lindbergh can't be upset because he is the champion, but not the way he wanted to put an exclamation mark on the season.
No, indeed, and this is how our final looks, and as Darrell has just said, the man from Switzerland coming up against the man from Sweden, Bruno Bader, now knowing he's got it all to do in this final. Adam Flamholt has been running so significantly in that 5-second bracket, setting a new European record, but can the man from Switzerland, who has, in fairness, really taken a turn in 2010, he has got a hell of a lot quicker this year.
He certainly has. He's run 6.11 this weekend at SantaPod Raceway, which, considering Bruno's budget, which isn't a lot, is absolutely fantastic. They don't have hardly any spares from the car, but they do go to every round of the championship. As you can see, PM4 from last year, he's very, very consistent. Doesn't rack up the wins, but racks up the round wins, if you like.
The consistency.
Exactly that. Bruno and Adam for the title at the European finals, away together. Oh, and Bruno's consistency deserts him. Big surprise, it's Adam.
It is, all the way through. Not a 5-second run this time, but a 6-0. That's good enough to take the win. And it was Adam Flamholt who was out of the traps first.
As I think he had been most of the day. Watch again. There they go, both away together, but Bruno in trouble before he gets to the 60-foot mark. Adam Flamholt, well, this is an absolute career weekend for him. Never run in the fives before, never won an event before, and now he's done them both in one weekend.
I think that the Pro Mod over here is closer to the Pro Mod in NHRA than any of the other classes here. That's what I think. And I heard a wise guy, Mats Eriksson, he said that if you give 100,000 pounds to somebody in Pro Mod, they won't win the next event, because the 10 or 12 best cars in Pro Mod, they all have the same parts and pieces, and it's up to the team, up to the driver to tune the car right and make the right decisions. And Pro Mod is a big class over here. It's a fan favorite class, and I think that next year you will see at least 3 or 4 cars go fives.
Well, confirmation if needed. Johan Lindbergh, number 1. Mickey G finishes 2. Adam Flamholt, with that late season surge, gets number 3 in points in Pro Mod.
With a mix of blown methanol and A-fuelers, up next is the Top Methanol Dragsters.
Top Methanol Dragster once again in 2010 has been a great class to watch, this mix of injected nitro cars and supercharged methanol cars. 2 of those here, the Silverline car, Dave Wilson from Great Britain, in qualifying here alongside Paul Inge Utian from Norway.
Dave, it's unusual territory for you at the moment. Here you are with your A-fueler. You're not in contention in the championship at all, which must seem to Dave Wilson so strange.
Yeah, it's a little peculiar. We're not getting used to it. We don't want to get used to it. We've had a bit of a struggle this year. We've had various things that have cause us problems.
Why is that? Because you seem to get a handle on the car. Have you tried to experiment and go faster?
Exactly, yeah, and that's the problem. You know, you can get a handle on it in one direction, and then you reach the limitation of that route, and so you start looking for a different route. And a couple of other things threw a spanner in the works. And we just lost our way a little bit in the beginning of the year. Weather didn't help. We lost a number of runs to weather. So one thing and another, it just added together and resulted in us not producing the performance we really wanted to see. Luckily enough, now we seem to be on a different direction and the car's coming back round again.
Well, a fuel dragster's notoriously difficult to tune, but one man really getting a handle on it in 2010, the far lane, the big gold RVA fuel car, Derek Flynn, again from Great Britain, alongside Peter Schofer in qualifying.
Well, I've got to tell you were #1 qualifier when I first arrived here this weekend. Car seemed to be going very, very well.
Much better this time. Yeah, we've had problems with tyre shake and also with going up in smoke. So yeah, good to get down the track.
So what's the secret of success? Because the interesting thing is you haven't got your American counterparts here with you this weekend, sort of acting as your guiding light. You've been let loose on your own. Is that really, could that be the secret to your success, Derek Flynn?
No, not at all. No, Jim's actually watching on the webcam. So no, he sees everything that's going on and he's helping me a great deal with the tune-up. So we talk about it before and after the run. So thank you, Jim. But yeah, we're very happy with the way the car's going now.
Well, very happy indeed. He's going to be taking on Paul Ingarutian in round one. The Limbourg Brothers are up against each other. Peter Schofer and Dave Wilson. Fred Hansen against Krista. And it's that race we get to first, John.
Yeah, indeed. And Fred is such a nice... Well, both of these guys are such nice people. And, of course, we've got the two different types of car here. We've got the A-Fueler of Krista Johansson. Now, Krista was one of the front runners in this class of vehicle when I first came to the sport at the start of the 1980s. Fred Hansen is a recent addition to the ranks here and has an American crew chief, Will Hanna, who really tries to help him all he can. But here we are, and you can just see up in smoke. Krista Johansson goes, a lot of smoke coming out of Fred Hansen's car, but hey, a 600 is good enough for the win.
Well, normally on any given day that wouldn't get to beat Krista, but oh, you can see the big bang from Fred Hansen's supercharger there. Actually lifted it clean off the top of the car. That is going to be an awful, awful lot of work for that crew to get it ready for the semi-final. But if anyone can, the Islanders can, and Will Hanna and the team, I'm sure, will be on it.
Well, let's catch up with Fred Hansen and just get his thoughts on the championship.
Your #1 qualifier, there's now a chance, isn't there, that you could get second place in the championship?
Yes, it is. A very good chance, actually. So if I go through next round and Dennis out next round, I think I have the second. But Flynn is coming very fast back, so I don't know. I haven't counted the points yet, so but the chance is there, yes.
Well, Fred Hansen looking to move up. Next race, Dave Wilson, the Silverline Tools A fuel car. Dave really had a horrible season in 2010. These are tricky cars to tune, and he is getting there, but hasn't had a round win so far, John.
Yeah, and he's up against Peter Schofer. Now, the number of times we have seen these two guys coming up against one another through the history of Top Methanol Dragster is incredible. Most wins go to Dave Wilson, and here we are, away together. This is a very, very close race. Fuel coming out of Dave Wilson's car, but he takes the win. 5.40 to a losing 5.42. Fabulous race.
Well, the crew seem very, very happy indeed. Look at that, big smiles all round. You can clearly see the supercharged car getting out there in front of Dave Wilson, but then the big A fueler just gets back at the finish line. They were almost dead even. If you look at the reaction times, add those to the elapsed times, there was millimetres between them on the finish line. But I think for the Silverline gang, you look at that beautiful shot from the finish line, an awful lot of work to do, judging by the smoke and the flames.
Well, yes, that flame coming out of Dave Wilson's car indicates to me that maybe a cylinder head has been torched, maybe a pair of cylinder heads have been torched. Means a lot of work for the team. Right, now then, next pair coming up here. Derek Flynn from Great Britain. Can he really do it here this weekend? The man who's moved up in classes. He started off Was it in Super Pro Dragster?
That's right, yeah. Paul Inger started out in Super Comp, so they've all done it the hard way, come up through the ranks.
Well, they've done their apprenticeship, I think, is what we're saying here. And away we go, and very, very close away from the start line. But it is Derek Flynn who takes it again, and a 5.32.
270 miles an hour, big speed. That was another classic supercharged versus a fuel race. If you watch them away together, Paul Ingarutian with a blown car gets away quicker, but then the big horsepower of the nitro car just leaves him for dead at the finish line. You can clearly see the difference in speed, 270 to 256. There wasn't that much in it, a couple of tenths, but they were way, way apart at the finish line.
I tell you what, it looks even closer from the finish line. Look at that. Was there a car length between them? But anyway, here we go into the fourth of our quarter-finals, and that puts the Harbourmans against one another. Timo and Dennis. Dennis being the younger of the two, of course.
Yeah, both doing great this season as well, as you'd expect from those two, to be honest with you. They've traded round wins, even event wins. Dennis won the main event. Timo won in Finland. Looks like Timo's a complete lock for the championship this year. Dennis's chances all hinge on number two. Well, look at this. Dennis looks like he's going to take out his brother.
Extraordinary. Look at that. A 5.42. Timo charged after him with a 5.3, but wasn't good enough to take the win. So, Dennis marches on into the semi-finals. Now, just watch this. Timo was absolutely asleep on the line. That's not normal for him.
No, not at all. I think he must have been thinking about the championship banquet and wrapping up the title, to be honest with you. But Dennis moves on into the semis. Not the first time he's beaten his brother this year on a whole shot at SantaPod Raceway. But Werner Habermann, their dad, must be so happy. Let's get some thoughts from Dennis.
It was a close run, but yeah, now we have chances to get the second place for me. So.
Is there a chance that you could overtake Timo in the championship?
I could, but for me, in my head, Timo is absolutely the best driver of the whole class. So the class is really tough, really, really tough. So we won 2 races this year with the team, and now we are in the semi-final with me, with my car. And yeah, but in my face, Timo is really absolutely the best driver.
Well, the semis look like this. Fred Hansen against Dave Wilson. Both those guys with a lot of damage to repair. Dennis is going to be up against Derek Flynn. So we've got 2 matchups. Both of them feature supercharged cars against A-fuel cars. The first one of those is Dennis against Derek.
And here we go with the burnout for these two. It's all important part of the racing in drag racing to heat up the compound in those rear slicks to give them traction away from the start line. Nearest the camera. Well, Dennis just moves forward a couple of feet there and then stops. Here's the burnout from Derek Flynn. Something has gone terribly wrong with Dennis's car.
Well, if you look at the supercharger on top of the engine, when he hit the throttle, it blew the blower off. The supercharged car kicked the blower off the top of the engine. That's Dennis's day done. It's going to be Derek getting the freebie into the final. Well, Dennis, I think, is secure in his number 2 spot in the championship. Derek runs it on through anyway, just makes a launch to save parts. He knows he's going to be racing for the final title.
Don't want to argue with you, but I think the problem here is that with that breakage, Dennis can see that if Fred runs good, he could take over that number 2 spot. And I think that is what's worrying the whole of the Harbourman family.
Well, indeed it is, I should think. Derek Flynn moves into the final, but Dennis and Timo's day is over. It all depends on what Fred does.
How does that look for the championship now?
Yeah, now it's really close. Now we have to hope that Fred don't win the finals. So he have a bye run now in the semi. I think, yeah, what's there? I think the engine is off of Fred, so I don't know.
It gets more and more.
Problem too, I can see it there. So I can just hope now that Derek win the race, and then we can make the second place. So it should happen, but that's racing, so we can do anything.
Well, what Dennis was alluding to there was Fred Hansen's crew had a massive thrash to get ready for the semis. Dave Wilson didn't make it with the A-fuel car. What they tried to do was get Fred's car started right on the start line. You can see Will Hanna there wiping his brow. Well, what an awful day for the Islanders. They thought they were going to take number 2 in the championship. If they got through that semi-final round and then beat Derek in the final, they would have done it. But now, they're out. whatever the engine problems were, they were that serious that Fred Hansen is not going to make number 2 or even the final in the championship. But what does happen as a result is the Harbormans get very, very friendly with each other and all of their crew. That's Daddy Werner rolling on the floor.
Fred Hansen breaks on the line, which I think means congratulations, champion.
Thank you very much. And number 2, we are so unbelievable happy. So we had so bad luck on the weekend. So yeah, Fred had luck in the first round when he blowed the burst panel. So he just ran a 60-0. So I ran the personal best in the first round, and now at the burnout my burst panel was coming out, and yeah, now he couldn't run, and we are number 1 and number 2 in the championship.
Yeah,
so
we had so many up and downs on the weekend, more downs than ups, but now we have a big up, and a dream came true. We got it, so we are so happy.
So you see that Dennis broke and Fred broke, so it is the same 1-1, and we have the points leader, so we are very happy. Thank you.
Well, the party will rage for the guys from Germany for some time to come as well. Unbelievably for them, numbers 1 and 2 in the championship. Obviously, Timo gets the crown, Dennis gets number 2. That's about as good as you can get.
He's very happy, isn't he?
As the camera gets a nice big kiss from Dennis as well. But the final is going to be just Derek, because nobody went through from Fred Hansen or Dave Wilson, John.
Well, what a strange set of circumstances have led up to this. The gold RV car all on its own in the final, unopposed, but such good luck at long last for Derek Flynn. I do really feel for him, Gary and the team. They have worked so hard for this. Jim Rizzoli has been over many times. He's not been here this weekend, but they've been in close contact with him in America, talking about their tune-ups, etc. But here he comes into the final. I'm sure he would love to be running against somebody, but hey, as we always say in drag racing, we'll take the win when it's there.
Well, I don't think Derek's going to be taking it easy. That 5.32 personal best for him, ET, and the speed of 270. He wants to back that up. That could be a European record. The car pooping out a little bit at the top end there, but a 5.35, 268 miles an hour, backs up very nicely a new European speed record for the Gold RV gang. All on his own there, Derek. That really was a victory lap.
And you can see just taking it easy off the line, but then really flying through. Great run for him. Well done, Derek and the team. I'm sure that he's going to be really, really happy with that.
Derek, it wasn't a championship win, but for the last round of the season, it was a brilliant one for you.
Absolutely awesome, yeah. Big thanks to the crew. They've worked so hard all year to get this, and it's just brilliant. At your home track, the European finals, couldn't ask for more.
And personal best in time and speed.
Yes, 5.32, even quicker than we ran in the States at Pomona, so that's awesome, and we've now got the European speed record as well.
Well, Derek gets in at number 3, beats down Fred Hansen to number 4, would you believe, but it's all the Harborman brothers at the top, Timo and Dennis.
You want to see 1,000 horsepower on 2 wheels? Well, here they come. It's Top Fuel Bikes.
Well, just as on 4 wheels, the kings of the sport are Top Fuel dragsters. On 2 wheels, it's Top Fuel Bikes. Nitro burning machines been campaigning all over Europe in the UEM Championship this year. What a great season it's been for the racing with those guys. René van der Berg from Holland, one of the guys in the chase for the championship in Top Fuel Bike, here qualifying with a really nice 6.99.
René, the year started off so well, but well, it's really been since Hungary that you've faced quite a few problems.
Yeah, I was second in Hungary, and yeah, well, you try some things for number 1, and yeah, she's an old lady, and yeah, you try something, and maybe it's good, maybe not, and yeah, the bike is strong.
So you've qualified, René. What would you like to leave this year and go out on a high with?
This year, I think I think so number 1.
Well, René looking to be number 1. He's currently number 2 in the championship. He's got a real tough opponent in round 1 up against Steve Willett. The other man or men in contention for the title down the bottom there from Finland, Kai Selkama and Petri Pajaka. But we do have, before we get anywhere near those, John, one of the quickest bikes in the world.
Well, indeed, Peter Spencer was our number 1 qualifier here, running a 6.2. Now, we're used to seeing this man running right in the fives, and here he is unopposed. Should have been running against Steve Carey from Great Britain. Steve broke and not into this round, but Peter runs through with a 6.06. Just shows you what that bike is capable of.
It's an absolute little rocket ship, that Kendall bike. I do love it indeed. Steve Willett, real crucial for the championship, up against Rene van der Berg. Now, Steve out-qualified Rene. Rene has to win here and keep on winning if he wants to be the champ in 2010. Steve Willett can run very quickly indeed. He won the round here back in May at the main event. Both the way together. You can see Stevie Willett already out in front. And that's all she wrote by the looks of it. Yes, Rene van der Berg out in round one. Runs a nice 6.89, 209 miles an hour, but it is Stevie Willett, 6:44. Rene, the best he can do now is number 2.
It all changes, doesn't it? Just by that but one particular run, and you can never discount Steve Willett. He's always been one of my heroes in top fuel bike racing, and it always manages to turn the wick up, get a good start line reaction exactly when he needs it. Right now then, here's our next pair coming out here, and this puts France up against Norway and an all-new bike for Sverre Dahl.
Yeah, in the far lane over there, that's Eric Tabul. Oh, and Eric breaks off the starting line. And the near lane, that is the man from Norway, Sverre Dahl. Brand new bike, 657, 206 miles an hour. These things are notoriously difficult to run. Brand new bike, already into the mid to low 60s, is really a task.
Did you notice how easy he made it look? It was just such an easy run. And you can see poor Eric, who's had a horrendous year in 2010. But hey, Sverre just makes it absolutely cracking. They always say that when the runs look so ordinary, they're the quick ones.
They certainly are. Well, this is another race that's pivotal in the championship. This man right here, Kai Selkema from Finland, he qualified, but that's the best we can say about it. Blew the bike to smithereens, worked all night trying to put it back together. This is really his championship season on the line. He's up here against Petri Pajakka, also from Finland, having a great time. His first ever year in top fuel bike competition. The bike previously owned by Ian King. Now, if Petri beats him, he's got an outside chance of taking the title.
Well, I tell you what, this is going to be interesting between these two. Identical start line reactions, but then Petri just opens up that throttle and flies through. That's not bad for a man who, up until this year, had never ridden a top fuel bike before.
Well, the bike that he bought, the previous championship machine from King Racing, that's Ian King. You can see Kai Selkema's bike smoking in the other lane. That was all Petri needed. A new personal best for him as well, 6.44, 217 miles an hour. Now, Kai Selkema is still in the lead in the championship. It's all up to what Petri does for the rest of the day that's going to decide the crown.
Yeah, indeed, and this is how our semi-finals look. Steve Willett now has the unenviable task of taking on this man, Peter Svensson. And at the other side, you've got Petri coming up against Sverre Dahl. And Sverre Dahl is another one of these guys with a bike that has in the past been one of the quickest bikes. His previous bike was one of the quickest bikes in Europe. So there's a lot going on here in this semi-final. So here we are. Peter Svensson getting ready to run. Are we going to see a 5-second run here? He's certainly got to do something, running alongside Steve Willett.
Well, both these bikes can run in the low 60s away together. Oh, look at that, absolutely wheel-to-wheel top fuel bike racing is fantastic to watch. Who's going to get it? It is Peter Svensson. Crushes him with a 6.15, really back on form.
Soren, that was a great run, but it looked quite shaky.
It was actually, but I mean, we had some power and more, but the track can't take it right now, so we don't know why. We have a very old spare tire on it too, so maybe that's the reason why.
Well, top fuel bikes are scary enough without ride one on an old tyre. That's the back view of Steve Willett disappearing into the distance. But in the other lane, Peter Svensson, that bike is a rocket ship. 6.15 was the winning time. Steve Willett, nothing to be ashamed of with a 6.44.
Yeah, indeed. So, into the final goes Peter Svensson. Now then, Petri has one or two little problems with the machine. So in drag racing, there's a strange rule that if the green light comes on and you cross the start line under your own power, it counts as a run, which is exactly what he does here, saving the bike for the final, trying to sort out all of the problems that have occurred with it. And he's now heading into the final to meet Peter Svensson.
Well, in the other lane was supposed to be Sverre Dahl from Norway. Sverre had a lot of engine problems after his first round win, elected not to run the bike. So, Petri, his first ever season, he won at Alastaro. He's going to be in the final here at SantaPod Raceway. Good chance, and I think just by staging in the final means he does win the championship, would you believe?
Yeah, so he doesn't even have to overcome the man in the opposing lane, Peter Svensson. But let's turn our attention to the final then, as the pair of them come up here. It's Sweden against Finland, and here is Peter Svensson. It's such a great-looking machine. It's very simplistic in its colour scheme, that yellow, as opposed to the hot rod bike, you might almost say, of Petri Päijäkä. So here we come. This is the final of Top Fuel Bike.
Yeah, Peter Svensson against Petri Päijäkä. Petri Päijäkä is staged, so he wins the title. Oh, but he doesn't go very far down the racetrack. It's going to be all Peter Svensson with the Kendall bike. What can he do this time? 6:08, 2:31. Unbelievably, we're slightly disappointed with that. We wanted to see 5-second runs, but Peter and Soren, his brother, well, they really, really are that good. Look at this beautiful scene here at SantaPod Raceway. Blue skies, big crowds. Peter Svensson with that traditional wobble at half-track that bike goes through. He takes the event win, but Petri Päijäkä wins the championship.
Now, I bet that Petri is beside himself with that win. So we'll try and, if we can, grab a few words from him as the 2010 Top Fuel Bike champ. You've just taken the cheers from the crowd. You're the champion in 2010.
I don't understand now, but maybe tomorrow it's nice.
And you've run your best ever time today.
Yeah. Yes, I tried my best time tonight. This is very, very good day.
All your Christmases have come at once.
Yeah, England is Christmas tonight.
Well, he's enjoyed himself in England, as are the Svensson boys.
Peter, you haven't won the championship, but for the final round here at SantaPod, you took the round. So mixed feelings, but going out on a high, I imagine.
Yeah, we have a great weekend here as always at SantaPod, and sorry we couldn't bring a 5-second run for the fans here, but we did our best and we get the win. That's the most important.
Well, very tough at the top in Top Fuel Bike. Petri Päijäkä wins the first ever Top Fuel Bike Championship as a standalone class. Kai Selkema second, Peter Svensson third.
3,500 horsepower, short wheelbase, white knuckle ride. If that appeals to you, they're up next. It's Top Methanol Funny Car.
Well, the last class in the show with the championship still to be settled. Top Methanol Funny Car from Great Britain. This is Steph Miller. Her and her husband Dave rode this car on an absolute shoestring.
I tell you what, you're still the only woman in the class. Is it ever going to change?
Well, I hope so. We've got that nice lady in her pink funny car coming up, so she might come and give me a bit of a hard time, I think.
Now, you're number 7 qualifier here at the moment. Give me your thoughts on the weekend so far.
We're really pleased. The first pass, it was brand new engine, new configuration. We changed all the bore and the stroke and everything else, and we were really pleased with that pass. It's a bit of a bracket car because it did 36 and then a 32, so we've got to step up on it a bit.
Okay, but I mean, do you see yourself being good in the competition? Because I do sense that the competition has increased a little bit this weekend.
Yeah, everybody seems to be stepping up. There are a few problems, few gremlins coming in and out of the cars, but no, we're after it anyway.
Well, gremlins indeed. There couldn't be anyone with any more gremlins than poor old Arvid Groden from Norway with the Sunoco Mustang. He's had such a tough time in 2010, but despite all of that, he still does have a really, really good chance for the championship.
Arvid, you're number 3 qualifier. Your thoughts on this season?
Well, I wish I was number 1 qualifier and leading the championship, but unfortunately I'm number 3. But this time this little thing broke as a fuel fitting, so hopefully we can do better in the next run.
Arvid, you have had quite an up and down season, haven't you? How can it all come good for the final weekend?
Well, we have sorted a lot of problems throughout the season, and it has been a roller coaster of emotions. But the team has faith in everything, and hopefully we can do good here later on this weekend.
Well, this class has almost been a tale of people having rotten years, sadly. Danny Bellio qualified number 1 at the top. He really has had a bad time, but in the round 1 he gets a bye. We do still have the championship to sort out though, which is very important. It's going to be between Jurgen Nagel, that man we've just seen, Arvid Grodem, and Dan Larsen.
Indeed, and as we watch, this is Danny Bellio. Danny surprised us all here at the finals. As you said, he has had an attrition year in 2010, but got the number 1 qualifying spot with an exemplary 5.79. And in the first round, he just runs through unopposed.
Danny, what a turnaround. You're number 1 qualifier. You're through to the next round on virtue of being number 1 qualifier. And after such an awful season, must just be such a relief.
Yeah, it's the good run you need. You know, you need a good run in one weekend, and everything else you forget. You try to forget. And now we have to look for next year and see that we can do better.
How do you think you've managed to change things around? Why is suddenly the fortune going your way?
I don't know. Then it would be easy. I mean, it was the first time we ever broke an engine, so we were a little bit surprised. We have to learn from our mistakes and try to do better. That's all we can do.
Well, a 5.79 is definitely better. Now, there is a kind of race within a race this weekend, and that's the first Great British team to run a 5 with a funny car. One of the men trying to do it, that man there, Rob Turner, he's up against championship hope Dan Larsen.
Yeah, indeed. And all these guys with the funny cars and girls have had a strange year. Dan Larsen also not doing so well, but Rob Turner in this particular outing couldn't crack the 5 that he wanted, and Dan Larsen takes the win with a 5.83. And it was all Dan right from the start.
It certainly was. Both of them pulling to stage, away they go, and Rob Turner for the first time this weekend spins the tyres. Too much clutch off the line it is. Dan Larsen marching on through into round 2. That's only going to help his championship chances. So it's still between him, Jurgen Nagel, and Arvid Grodem. The next race, well, it should have been a race, but as opposed to that, Arvid Grodem had trouble warming the car up when they tried to fire it to test it before this race, and it's going to be Detso Krivan on his own. That's Arvid's year over.
But isn't it great to see Detso Krivan back with us again? Been missing for a few years, the man from Switzerland. Got this new car for 2010, and I'm sure he's going to be stepping up on that machine during 2011.
Very unique combination as well. It's got a Toyota Celica body on that, would you believe? He goes through into the semis. Arvid, what a shame, no show in round 1. Those gremlins come back to haunt him. So now the championship is between Dan Larsen, we've already seen him go through, and the man we're looking at right here in the nearest lane, that's Jurgen Nagel. Now, Jurgen is up against Steph Miller, who you had a word with earlier, John. And like I said, that little race within a race to see the first 5-second run by a British funny car in the top methanol. So Jurgen, if he wants to do well, has to win and keep on winning. Well, he leaves Steph for dead on the line. And there was a really good job that he did do that as well. Jurgen runs a 6.25, but on a massive hole shot, Steph runs a 6 flat. So close to that magic number.
Yeah, indeed. So well done to Steph and Dave. Just watch this, though. The gap between these two on the start line was extreme. Steph, what are you doing? You could have won this race. Look at that. There's about 3 car lengths, the gap between them, by the time Steph gets going. And then she runs her career best and just knocking on the door of the 5-second bracket. Oh, boy.
Well, the 5-second battle for the first British funny car will rage on another day. For now, we have a championship to decide. Dan Larsen against Danny Bellio. He's the first man we're going to see here in the box to funny car. The other race will be Detso against Jurgen Nagel.
Well, here we are, Danny Bellio on the right-hand side of your picture. Dan Larsen on the left, and it's going to be who leaves the start line first. It is Danny Bellio who gets away first, but unfortunately for him, he pulls a red light in so doing and just hands the race to Dan Larsen.
Well, Dan Larsen looks much better for the championship than he did at the start of the weekend, let's put it that way. Great job by the Boxster team. Danny Bellio, well, back on form in qualifying with that 5.79. He couldn't translate that on race day to running good numbers. A clear red light, you can see that by a long, long way. Basically in drag racing, you have to wait for the green light to come on. If you go too quick, you knock yourself out.
Well, what rotten luck for Danny Bellio. Of course, the team really have worked so hard in 2010. Here's his crew chief, who is his son, giving it all away on a red light.
Yeah, I know, but it's hard to get the car on the track. We have just a few runs this year, and we're happy with the 579 from yesterday. We hope we can do it better next year.
Well, yep, there always is next year. The other semi-final, great to see him back. Detso Krivan with a Celica-bodied funny car all the way from Switzerland. He's going to be going up against the other chance for the championship, Jurgen Nagel from Denmark. Now, Jurgen spent years trying to run a 5, finally did it at Hockenheim, ran a couple of them, and he qualified with a 5-second run here this weekend at SantaPod as well. So this should be a great race.
Yeah, indeed. He was our number 2 qualifier because Detso was in there at the number 6 spot. But it's all down to this race to see who goes in to the final to go against Dan Larsen. And really, the man who wants this so badly is Germany's Jurgen Nagel with his Camaro.
It certainly is. Jurgen has had a great year. Won the main event, did really well in Hockenheim in Germany as well. And this weekend he's in the semis. If he wins this race, it's going to be a race between him and Dan Larsen to take the title. But he does have the small matter of beating Detso Krivan to get into it. Right, this is the nervy part. Into stage.
Oh,
I just said nervy, didn't I?
Indeed.
Yeah, Jurgen Nagel goes too quick, red lights his way out of competition. That's him done for 2010. Clicks it off early with a 6.8. Detso Krivan shook and spun off the start line, but he got a green light. So that's the most important thing. He moves through to the final. Jurgen Nagel, well, like I said, that's his season done. But he still did very respectably indeed.
Yeah, indeed. It's interesting, isn't it? Our final now is between the two guys who didn't red light in the semi-finals. So it's Dan Larsen against Detso Krivan. And I rather imagine that it's going to now be Dan Larsen's championship. I think it comes down to he who wins here gets the championship.
Yeah, it certainly does. And Dan Larsen, he did actually miss the round in Finland, so done very well for the rest of the year to get enough points to be in this position to win the title. As you can see, the crew dressed up in the final, bit of war paint for the box team there. And well, also on the subject of great comeback, Krivan. He had a massive fire at his workshop some 7 or 8 years ago now. Spent all this time rebuilding everything and has come back with this absolutely beautiful Toyota Celica. Pretty much the only one in the world racing in top methanol funny car. Oh, and he red lights.
Oh, what a great shame. Detso, right when he needed to cut a good light, pulls the red, and that allows Dan Larsen to go through, not only to take the win, but hey, at long last, having been runner-up, having been third in so many years, Dan Larsen is the 2010 champion.
Well, he's definitely paid his dues. They had a lot of engine problems both at this race and at the main event as well, and it really is great from the team from Denmark to get that win. He always seems to win the European finals.
Everything has gone right for you.
Yeah, it's been a great weekend, hard job, but we make it to the final and we got the championship.
Well, how many years have you been trying to win that championship?
I think it must be 14 years or something like that.
Well, how does it feel to have actually done it at long last?
It feels great, and we have a hard weekend, but it was very close, but everything was working at the last time, so.
Well, Dan Larsen, we're going to be wearing the big number 1 next year in Top Methanol Funny Car. Jurgen Nagel finished second, Arvid Grodem in at number 3.
Well, what an amazing weekend it's been. John and I and thousands of people have witnessed a spectacle on this SantaPod Raceway. We've had records, we've had unbelievable sunshine. It's just been non-stop action, hasn't it, John?
Oh, it has. And the racing, let me tell you, the racing has been absolutely amazing. As Abby said, new record set, but there's been such close racing in every single class. This is why drag racing is so perfect when the sun shines.
How can we possibly beat it in 2011? I'm sure we will. We'll see you next year.